How's it going, everyone? This is Than from Advanced Reef Aquarium. A while back, my friend Nathan requested a brand of food that we were fairly unfamiliar with called Sustainable Aquatics Hatchery Diet. What distinguished this particular brand of food was that in his experience, it was one of the only types of pellet food his orange spot filefish would eat. Typically, orange spot filefish get their nutrition from picking at the polyps of small polyp stony corals. You can see this little guy cruising around nibbling on all sorts of corals in Nathan's tank. Nathan now has a pair of these fish, and they nibble quite a lot less now that they get a steady diet of these pellets. Sustainable Aquatics, it appears, has quite a lot of experience in the breeding of fish, especially clowns. They developed this food primarily for raising the fry. It came as no surprise that the clownfish in our systems ate it right away. The Hatchery Diet pellets come in two sizes, 1.2mm and 0.5mm, and that's a problem right away. We're Americans, and we have no idea what the metric system is. Whenever I meet someone who knows the metric system, my internal dialogue is wondering, scientist or drug dealer? I'm just kidding. Here, you can see the relative size of the larger 1.2mm pellets on a ruler as well as compared to a quarter. Clearly, the size of these pellets anticipate their use for much smaller fish. My harlequin tusk, for example, would not have any interest in food this small. Taking a quick look at the ingredients, Sustainable Aquatics is a basic mix of krill, fish, and squid with some garlic and other binders. If you're curious what astaxanthin is, it's an antioxidant found in marine life that gives salmon and krill its reddish color. We have established that this is a pretty good food for finicky fish, but to be honest, I'm a coral guy, and I'm curious to see if this food can be used to feed finicky corals. There are certain corals like Scolymia seen here that pretty much eat everything, so it's no surprise that a coral like this consumes the pellets right away. Scolies would probably eat gummy bears. A little more challenging is feeding chalices. Most hobbyists don't take the time to feed chalices because they don't have much in the way of tentacle extension, but they do trap food in a mucus web and draw it in. These are time-lapse sequences, so you can clearly see the corals eating, but in real time it's much less obvious. It's clear to me, anyway, that not only do these corals eat, they can eat quite a lot. Okay, so far so good. You can put a check mark by your chalices. Stepping up the finicky LPS ladder, we have this frog spawn. Although hammers, torches, and frog spawn look like they would be the type of coral to eat everything in sight, they're actually pretty finicky. At Tidal Gardens, we don't make much of an effort to feed these corals as a result. Food that is dropped on them rarely makes it to the mouth, and these corals are known to spit out food, even if it makes it in. The fact that this orange frog spawn took the pellets in right away is a very promising sign. Last on my list of finicky LPS is the Goniopora. They have long been a challenge to keep in the reef aquarium hobby, and many speculate that the key to long-term success is nutrition. The problem with that is, gonis don't eat readily. For this sequence we used the larger pellets, but perhaps the smaller ones would have been better. Still, you can see the coral grab the pellets right away, which I find very impressive for prepared food. Just for fun, I wanted to see how sea fans like this Atlantic Gorgonian react to the food. This particular sea fan is photosynthetic, so it doesn't absolutely need to be target fed, but many of the bright Pacific varieties are non-photo and must be fed consistently for survival. When sped up like this, it almost looks like the polyps are pulsing like Xenia. Unfortunately, not every coral thinks this food is puppy dogs and rainbows. If you follow the coral feeding videos on Tidal Gardens, it should come as no surprise that zoanthids are pretty unhappy with just about anything you put on them. I wouldn't have expected it, but zoas seem to be the top of the finicky list. In any case, I think this food performed great in our little test here with both fish and coral. I encourage anyone that is curious about sustainable aquatics to give this food a try. I'm pretty impressed with it, and it's relatively inexpensive. You can click on the annotation and it will take you right to the Advanced Reef Aquarium's online store. Thanks again, guys. Until next time.